Hello and welcome back. So in this point here, we'll actually be checking how we can use the VLOOKUP function in a case where we have to come up with the inventory system. That's in this case, it will be the sales order. So I have the product IDs here, the product names, the category, the unit price, the current stock, the reorder levels. This reorder levels actually means that when the stock actually hits this point here, then we actually make a reorder straight away. So we have to reorder whenever the stock actually hits these levels here. So in this point here, we have to make a system whereby when you just enter the product ID here, let's say for example L001, then the product name actually appears on this point here, the category appears here. You can actually check that you have the product name and the category. The unit price also appears. Then you enter the quantity which has actually been ordered. Let's say for example the quantity ordered is actually 10. So you have to enter 10 on this point here. Then you actually do the total cost. The total cost will actually be that 10 multiplied by the unit price, which will actually get us the total cost. So somebody had actually made an order for the quantity equivalent to 10. So the stock after the sale will now be equivalent to the current stock for that product ID L001, which is actually 234 minus that 10. Yes, because we have now delivered that 10. I hope you are now together. So in that case, we have to use the VLOOKUP. So before we actually dive into that, I would actually urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can stay updated whenever I drop some new videos on different functions in Excel. And you can also follow my X account so that we can actually move together with the biggest community that we are going to build on Excel analytics. So this will actually guide you when it comes to tips and hacks. Now, suppose we have the product ID to be L001. So the product name has to appear on this point automatically. The category name has to appear automatically. The unit price has to appear automatically. So we will actually have to enter the quantity. So the two things which we will actually be entering on this point is the product ID, so that it can actually get us the product name, the category, the unit price. Then we also enter the quantity. And after entering the quantity, we will have the total cost, because the total cost will now be equivalent to the unit price, times the quantity ordered, and the stock after the sale will now be equivalent to the current stock minus that 10, because we have subtracted, it has been ordered. So the current stock 234 minus that 10, which will be equivalent to 224. So let's now build a system like that. So let's actually go. So let's actually go. So it's equivalent to VLOOKUP like that. Then you actually open like that. This is my lookup value, comma, then this is actually my table array. So make sure that the lookup value is actually on column 1 of the table array, just like that. And which item do you actually want to return? I would actually want to return the product name, and the product name in our table array is actually on column number 2. So product ID is actually column number 1, product name is actually column number 2. So column number 2 like that. Then are you returning approximate match or exact match? I'm actually returning the exact match. So you double click on it like that. Then you just close and hit enter on the keyboard. Now you can actually check that the product name is actually equivalent to the laptop. So in this point here, you can actually drag so that you can edit, but I want us to go step by step. There's no problem. So on this point, we'll actually say VLOOKUP again. Then you actually VLOOKUP again like that. Then you actually open. This is my lookup value, comma, this is my table array, and we are now returning the category, and category in our table array is actually on column number 3. Product ID is column 1, product name is column 2, column 3 is actually the category. So 3 for the category, and we are still returning the exact match, false. So you close it, enter on the keyboard. It's actually electronics. You can check. So product ID L001, product name is actually laptop, and the product category or the category is actually equivalent to electronics. What about the unit price? So let's actually go VLOOKUP like that. Then you actually open. This is my lookup value. Then you select the table array like that. Then you identify the column number for the unit price. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and unit price is actually column number 4 in our table array. Just like that, and you are actually obtaining the exact match. Then you close it, enter on the keyboard. I have 300, just like that. And on this point here, the quantity ordered was actually equivalent to 10. So in this point, there's no formula because we are just entering. The quantity ordered was actually equivalent to 10. It entered there. So we have to get a formula here so that it actually multiplies automatically. That is the quantity ordered times the unit price, and then it will actually get me the total, which is actually equivalent to 3,000. The total, which is actually equivalent to 3,000 US dollars. Stock after the sale. So stock after the sale. So the current stock is actually equivalent to 234 minus the quantity ordered, which is actually 10. And that will actually get me an equivalent of 224. So I had 234 to be the current stock. 10 items were actually ordered, so it will be 234 minus 10, which is actually getting me 224. On this point here, the total cost of the items ordered is actually equivalent to 10 times the unit price, which is 300, which actually gets me a total cost of 3,000 US dollars. So let me actually have the formatting there. That's US dollars. Then on this point too, the formatting of US dollars. You can just click on this point, hit on copy, then format painter, then you just click on that point. So you actually go to the home, clipboard group, copy, format painter, then you click on the cell which you would actually want the formatting to be copied to, and that will be done. So let me also reduce the decimal places like that. On this point too, allow me to reduce the decimal places, and that's it. Now, I would actually want us to see what will actually happen if we have a different item here. Let's say, for example, we have a different product ID. Let's say P001. So what will actually happen? So let's actually check on that. Before we actually go on to checking on that, allow me to actually bring you to this point here. So in this case, you can actually check that I have different courses on Excel. Yes, I'm still working on them thoroughly so that I can make the perfect editing, but they are actually very ready at the moment. So remember, you can actually obtain all these products at $945, but I've actually given you a very big discount to a point where you can actually obtain all of them at just $100. So you will gain access to my Google Drive. Yes, after gaining access to my Google Drive, you will access all these courses, and after accessing all these courses, you will learn at the comfort of your seat. So you learn at your own pace. These courses actually include the real world examples, and I guarantee you that you will master Excel and everything in it, including the AI in Excel. Now, that said, you can also come to this point here and get me the projects so that I can get the work done for you. I want to actually get the work done perfectly for you. So you can subscribe to my bundle here, which is actually Cloud in Excel, dashboards and charts automation, pivot tables and models, Power BI, financial forecast, templates management, all this monthly. All this at a rate of $550 monthly. So just at $550 monthly, imagine you get all this work done for you. So that will actually be a very big boost on your side. You can also get me one-time task. We have the dashboard designs here, data analysis and insights, automation and smart macros, enhanced, that's the AI enhanced Power BI reports. So all of them available. The prices $150, $200, $250, $300, very favorable prices. And on this case too, you'll actually realize that I also design the templates, and I'll be so happy if you get me the work so that I can design for you the best templates you will ever get. So you will actually have the best templates you'll ever get, and I can also design for you and manage it for you, and you just have to pay $50 every month. So design and maintenance at $50 every month. So that's also a very big boost. So for us to actually communicate, hit me through this email here. So we'll actually communicate on the projects, the templates, the courses, and everything else that actually remains. So make sure you actually get me a message on my inbox, and I'll be glad to reply to you. Now in this point here, what if we actually have the product ID to be equivalent to let's say P001 here. So P001 for the phone, electronics, $200, that's per phone, and the current stock is actually 123, and the reorder level is actually 100. So the P001, before I hit enter, I want you to check the product name, category, unit price, and yeah, that's all, and the unit price. So before I actually hit enter, check what will actually happen, even inclusive of the total cost. So hit enter on the keyboard and check what actually happens. So you can actually check that we have phone on this point, we have the electronics, we have the $200 per phone, and given that the quantity is actually 10, the total cost will actually be equivalent to 2,000 US dollars. Actually realize that there's one problem here. The stock after sale, yes, has to be for the phone, it has to be 123 minus this 10. So 123 minus 10 is actually equivalent to 113. But in this point, it's actually 224 because we added. It's actually 224 because we didn't actually use the VLOOKUP here. We just actually used the subtraction. So in this point, I will also want us to be advanced and use the VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, just like that. And VLOOKUP, then you actually open the lookup value is actually this one here on G22. Then you select the table array like that. After selecting the table array, indicate the column index number. So for the stock, which is actually the current stock, it will actually be column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So it's actually column number 5. Then actually returning the exact match. So you double click on exact match like that, which is actually false. Close, hit enter on the keyboard, it's actually 123. So we have to say that current stock minus the quantity ordered. So the current stock minus the quantity ordered, then it will actually get you 113. So that's it. Now let's actually get back to the first product ID L001, and let's actually see what will actually happen on this point here. It has to be 234 minus 10, and it will be 224. I've already gotten you my email, so let's actually communicate on the projects, let's communicate on the templates, on the courses, and many more. So thanks for watching, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on my X account. Let's stay tuned for the next video.